Hi, I'm Chris Martirano with American Music and Sound and our great friends here at Kraft Music, the home of those fantastic bundles, offering exceptional value. And if you don't see the bundle that you're looking for with the exact configuration, contact Kraft and they can put together a package just for you. The Nord Electro 6 builds on the Nord Electro platform by offering 3 separate engines, as they have in the past, and now allowing you to use all the engines at the same time. The 3 engines are a modeled organ engine that does pipe organ, tone wheel organ, and classic transistor organs. Also, you then have this piano electroacoustic section, a separate engine that plays back acoustic pianos, electric pianos, clavinets, harpsichords, things of that nature. But they've greatly expanded this area. You now have 120 voices of polyphony in this area. You also have 3 bands of EQ now that you can apply directly without using the EQ as part of the effects section. You also have new sounds in here, such as FM electric pianos. You also have some smaller pianos that are used as layers. And then you have the 3rd engine, which is called the Sample Synth engine. This will play back from an enormous library that Nord keeps building that's free to users that own the Nord Electro platform. And in this section, you'll find acoustic instruments, electric instruments, you'll find synthesizer sounds, synth basses, synth leads, a lot of different cool sounds you can put in this area. They've also increased the polyphony to over 30 voices. You also have great envelope control over the samples, so you can adjust the attack, the decay, and the release of the samples. In addition to increasing the polyphony, they've also increased the memory. You now have 0.5 gigabyte of memory, and they use a data compression scheme so you can pack a lot of sound into here. In addition to their great libraries, you can load your own user samples in as well using their free app that allows you to take waveforms and map them into programs and then load them into the instrument, where then you can use the great effects and combine them with the other 2 engines to make killer setups. Nord has also included those great features like Crossfade, so when you make a split, you can have this beautiful smooth transition between the sounds. They also have included the LEDs on the front panel that show you where your split occurs, which is really helpful if you're playing in a dark stage or a dimly lit room. Also, they have features like the great OLED display, giving you a lot of feedback to what's going on in the instrument. And in addition, they've now allowed you to split the organ into a dual mode. So using the 1 organ engine, you can have a split with a simulated lower and upper manual configuration. Really, really cool stuff. In addition to the features I've already discussed, they put some great handy housekeeping tools in here, such as each of the engines on the piano and the sample playback engine have a list mode where you can see exactly what you have loaded into that section. In the piano section, for example, by executing the list mode, you can see exactly which pianos, electric pianos, clavs, you've loaded in. The user can configure this instrument as they wish. So you can go to Nord's site, you can pick the pianos of your choice in different sizes. They offer small, medium, large, and extra large. So you can determine how many grand pianos do I really want to load in, how many electric pianos, how many clavinets. Maybe I don't need harpsichord. Maybe I don't want an upright piano. So you just load what's appropriate for what you want in your instrument into the piano section. You have 1 gigabyte of memory to load up. And again, data compression allows you to pack a lot in here. In the sample section, it's the same thing. You can see a list of what's loaded in there. This is really handy. Rather than scrolling through a long list to try to view one at a time, you can see this list. You also have a category view that allows you to look by category. So for example, if I'm in the piano mode, I can hit list and see just what acoustic pianos and electric pianos I have. I know as a keyboardist myself, I'm always interested in what are the piano sounds like. Here's one of Nord's pianos that I really like. This one's called Royal Grand 3D, and it features a recording that was done with microphones at the placement where the player's ears are. And you get this really nice perspective. I'm not going to use anything but a little bit of stage reverb on it. No other effects are being used. You will have sympathetic string resonance in the model, which is great. You also have the ability to turn at the switch of a button soft release, which means the dampers are older, so it takes a little longer for them to stop the energy in the string. I like using that, so I'm going to put that on. And then you have these 3 bands of EQ I spoke about. I'm going to leave them off for the moment. What you might notice is I'm playing on a 73-note waterfall keyboard. This is not a weighted action. This is a semi-weighted action, but it really simulates what an organ action is like. They make 2 other flavors of keyboard, a 61-note using the same waterfall keyboard, and then a model called the HP that features a hammer-weighted action, and that's 73 keys. All of the instruments feature aftertouch, which is great. So for me, playing the 73 note is a great compromise, allowing me to play organs and other instruments like claves, but still play piano. And you notice how dynamic and beautifully the keyboard responds. So I'm going to demonstrate a program called 89. It uses all 3 engines. It uses splits. It also uses their Crossfade algorithm on the splitting. So as we take a look, we have the organ engine on with a particular drawbar arrangement. We have a split where this red LED is showing. And the reason why the LED is red is because they're using a crossfade. If there was no crossfade, the LED would be green. Then you have the piano section, which is going to play to the right of that split point. You have a synth sample player playing a bass sound that's going to play to the left, and the organ section's playing to the right. So essentially we have a piano and an organ layer to the right and a bass to the left. But because we have that smooth crossfade, you're going to have a very interesting blend where they marry over each other. So I'm going to start by just playing chromatically through the crossfade so you can hear how smooth it is. Very, very smooth. Now the piano's an octave higher than the organ. That's by design in the program. So you're hearing that layered up here. Also, you notice the separate effects being applied to the individual instruments. For example, on the bass, I have a chorus, and on the organ, I have a rotary speaker, and on the piano right now, just a little reverb. So this is really a nice demonstration of what you can put together. Let's take a look at the splitting, what's going on here. If I press the split button, I'm presented with position and width. Right now it's telling me I have a large crossfade. If I go to width, I can select small or off. So large is a larger range of the keyboard. For position, this is telling me where the LED is positioned. And again, I can move that. So if I go back to my width and shut it off, notice the LED turns green. If I turn the crossfade on, it turns red, again indicating that we're using crossfading. Very intuitive. Let's take a look at the list feature I spoke about. If I want to see what's in my piano section, right now I'm using an electric piano, I'll hit the Shift key and turn the knob, and now I'm presented with a list of what's going on here in this section. And you notice I have 3 ways to look at it: numbered, alphabetically, and also by category. So let's say I select just an acoustic piano. I'll go back to acoustic piano and I'll go to category. Now I'm only going to see pianos that are acoustic. In this case, they do give you the 2 electric grands because they are stringed instruments. They're using strings and hammers. So let's supposing I want to go to a Tine electric piano, and I want to look at what's in that category. By selecting the category button, I'm now seeing only my Tine and Reed electric pianos. This is really helpful, especially if you've loaded it with your own programs from Nord's site. You want to know, what do I have in here? Where are they located? How do I get to them quickly? And your question might be, can I play it while I'm looking at the list? Absolutely. So you can scroll to any of these entries and play and hear what you're seeing in the list. If you want to exit the list, you just hit the Shift key and it takes you back out of the list. The same is true for the sample section. I want to look at what's in my sample section. Right now I can see all of the various samples loaded in. And again, I can search alphabetically or by category. These are great time savers for somebody who's programming, putting together stuff for a live gig. The instrument is very well suited, though, if you just want to show up at a gig and put it together on the fly. Let's take a listen to this program named 89. Let's take a look at a dual organ program now. Supposing you're trying to simulate a dual manual organ. In fact, they even allow you to plug in via MIDI a second keyboard, and with a touch of a button, you can select that keyboard to be your lower manual or your lower range. Very, very handy if you're trying to get something together at a gig and you already own a keyboard. You just want it to double as your organ left hand. So right now, I select dual organ mode by pressing this button with the Shift key, and I'm presented in the display with 2 sets of drawbars. The way I toggle between upper and lower is just by hitting the dual organ button, and you can see the ones that get illuminated and the ones that are grayed out. By moving the drawbars, I can create what I like. I can add, in this case, I have on chorus vibrato and percussion. And then if I want to go to my lower half and I want a walking bass side, I'm going to just pull out maybe the first 3 drawbars. I don't want any chorus vibrato on or percussion. And now I have a program that we can listen to that's a dual organ program. If I decide I want the left-hand part to be a walking bass or deep, I can simply go to that section of drawbars and then use my octave down buttons and get a lower range. While I'm at it, I'd like to point out that I'm using one of the optional accessories, which is a half-moon switch to control the rotary speed. In this case, Nord has done a great job allowing me to move the rotary from the chorale or slow speed in the middle position to a stopped rotor, and then in the right position to tremolo or fast speed. This allows me to use the brake feature, which was an invention that in the Leslie cabinet you had to do some special modified wiring to allow the rotors to come to a dead stop. The half-moon switch is compatible with the 6D. The 6D is available in a 61-note and a 73-note configuration. The D stands for drawbars. While we're on the organ, I'd like to play a little bit more and show you something about the Nord Overdrive Circuitry. Nord did a great job of modeling what happens when you drive a preamp and an amplifier that are tube-based. When you drive them with a lot of gain, what happens is clipping or distortion occurs. As you back off the gain to a tube circuit, you're going to have less distortion, and eventually you're going to get to the point where there's minimal, almost undiscernible distortion. I'm going to turn on a little overdrive right now, and I'm going to use a CC pedal to change the gain of the organ model. And listen to what happens to the overdrive. That attention to detail, to me, really makes me smile. As a player of the real instrument, the tone wheel organ, I'm very familiar with this overdrive phenomenon, and I notice a number of other manufacturers don't get it quite right. Anyway, I'm going to play an organ piece for you right now, play with the drawbars in a split mode, also show you a little bit of what you can do live with the instrument using the organ model. Nord provides a handy utility allowing you to organize your programs in the order that you want to use them. This is great for live performance and also precludes you from having to get out your computer and use a librarian to organize your programs. I do this simply by holding the Shift button and touching this key that's marked Organize. I can then change pages, swap, or move a sound. If I wanted to move a sound in this list, I hold down Move and change the location of where the sound is placed. That's simple. If I want to undo, I can undo. If I'm happy with it, I hit OK. Very simple. If I want to swap a sound out, I can hold Swap and say swap it with a particular sound. So swap these two. And I can say OK, and it just swapped the two of them. Very handy for people who are playing live and want to organize your sounds. Let's look at some of the control that Nord gave you over the sample player. In this case, I have attack, decay, and release envelope control on knobs that I can control in real time. I also have a filter that can track velocity, so I can have dynamically my filter affect the sound I'm playing. I'll give an example of that in a minute. The dynamic control can be applied to the filter or to the amplifier or to both, giving you a lot of nuance control over the sounds. I'm going to play a Mellotron string program. I'm going to adjust the envelope and adjust the dynamics over the sound as I'm playing it. So you can hear how dynamically the samples can be affected by using these controls over the filter and the amplifier, and also by shaping the envelope. So moving to the right, let's look at the effects section a little bit. Some of the special things I want to call out is Nord allows you to connect your CC pedal to control some of your effects depth. And in this case, I'm using the control pedal to control a wah-wah effect on a clavinet. Very cool. I could use it to adjust the depth of a ring modulator on a sound. This is a great feature. Also, they allow me now on the effects for flanging and chorusing and an effect they call vibe to have an extra deep measure of the effect. I'm going to apply this parameter called deep to the flanging effect and apply it to this clavinet. This allows those people like me who like to play with effects to really get into some crazy stuff. So there you have it, the Nord Electro 6. If you need more information, contact Kraft Music either by phone, email, or live chat. Thank you again for watching, and I'm Chris Martirano.